Hello and welcome to a new edition of Africa Today, and we start with the news from Cairo as Cairo gave directions to offer all humanitarian assistance to Libya and Morocco, both suffering from the repercussions of the natural disasters over the past few days. Military forces were ordered to immediately send humanitarian supplies to the two countries by all means. Cairo has also announced 3 days of mourning in solidarity with Morocco and Libya. And the death toll from freak floods in eastern Libya is expected to soar dramatically, with thousands of people reported missing. The International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies issued the warning on Tuesday in Geneva via video link from Tunis, confirming that the number of missing people is hitting 10,000 persons so far. Details follow.
Rescue teams struggled amid devastation in eastern Libya, retrieving hundreds of bodies from the rubble in a coastal city that has been inundated by devastating floods. Authorities estimated that as many as 2,000 people are believed dead in the city of Derna alone. Authorities said Mediterranean storm Daniel caused havoc and flash flooding in many towns in eastern Libya, but the worst destruction was in Derna, where heavy rainfall and floods broke dams and washed away entire neighborhoods. Tamer Ramadan, Libya envoy for the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, said 10,000 people were missing after the unprecedented flooding. Speaking to reporters at a UN briefing in Geneva via video conference from Tunisia, he said the death toll was huge and expected to reach into the thousands in the coming days. Speaking about the fallout from Friday's devastating earthquake in Morocco, on the other side of North Africa, Ramadan said the situation in Libya was as devastating as the situation in Morocco. Osama Hamad, Prime Minister of the government in eastern Libya, said that many of the missing were believed to have been carried away after two upstream dams burst. He said the devastation in Derna is far beyond the capabilities of his country. The Libyan Red Crescent said early Tuesday that its teams counted more than 300 people dead in Derna, which authorities have declared a disaster zone. More bodies were still under the rubble in the city's neighborhoods or washed away to the sea. Derna residents posted videos online showing major devastation. Entire residential blocks were erased along Wadi Derna, a river that runs down from the mountains through the city center.
And the Red Cross appealed Tuesday for more than $100 million to provide desperately needed assistance in Morocco, days after powerful earthquake killed more than 2,800 people. Details follow.
Hopes were dimming on Tuesday in Morocco's desperate search of survivors, 4 days after a powerful earthquake killed more than 2,800 people, most of them in remote villages in the high Atlas Mountains. Search and rescue teams from the kingdom and abroad kept digging through the rubble of broken mud brick homes, hoping for signs of life in a race against time, following the 6.8 magnitude quake late Friday. In the tourist hub of Marrakesh, whose UNESCO-listed historic central suffered cracks and other major damage, many families still slept out in the open, huddled in blankets on public squares for fear of aftershocks. But the need was most desperate in remote and poor mountain villages such as Misirat, only reachable via winding dirt roads southwest of Marrakesh, where traumatized inhabitants have searched by hand for missing relatives. Many of the region's traditional adobe homes crumbled to rubble and dust, while some concrete houses now stand ajar, their former residents gingerly salvaging mattresses, blankets, and cooking utensils from them. Rescuers, aid trucks, and private volunteers kept traveling to stricken villages in the barren foothills of the high Atlas, many accessible only via dusty dirt roads affected by rockfalls. In the village of Asni, in the worst-hit province of Al-Haus, the army set up a field hospital with medical tents where more than 300 patients had been treated by Monday. Many Moroccan citizens have rushed to help quake victims with food, water, blankets, and other aid, or by donating blood to help treat the injured, an effort joined by the national football team. The quake was Morocco's strongest on record and the deadliest to hit the North African country since a 1960 earthquake destroyed Agadir on the Atlantic coast, killing between 12,000 and 15,000 people. Overall, at least 2,862 people have died and more than 2,500 been injured in the latest tragedy, according to an official toll issued late Monday.
And now we are joined over the phone by Dr. Yasser Abdelhadi, climate change expert. Good afternoon, sir. Dr. Yasser?
أيوة.
Yes, sir. First, would you explain to us the occurrence of natural disasters not common in North Africa in recent times?
Yes, this storm and the hurricanes are coming nowadays because it may be because of the climate change, and I think it's probably possible.
Yes.
But we cannot assure that it would be, but it's a natural phenomenon and can occur at any place in the world. And of course, the people are thinking about the climate change or the cause of this phenomenon, and I think it's the closest explanation of this phenomenon. Yes.
So, sir, is Morocco and the rest of North Africa bracing to become a scene of quakes and natural disasters?
No, about the earthquakes, I cannot explain because I'm not a specialist in the geophysics and the earthquakes, but there is no clear relation between the earthquake and this storm.
There is no relation. Yes.
That's a clear relation. We cannot assure that there is a relation between this and this.
So, sir, to what extent the African countries are impacted by climate change?
This is an accumulated effect, can be accumulated by the time and can appear at any while, and everything is possible now for these results and so on.
So how can the African countries cooperate to face challenges of climate change?
I was in many meetings, the media, and I told before that there is a rule for the political leaders to make. First of all, there is we have to get the people aware by these dangers and to push them to try to reduce the use of the fossil fuels, and it needs, of course, the political decisions and resolutions and laws also must be checked and released and to be assured for this issue.
Yes, Dr. Yasser, also, do you expect that the African continent will begin to see a new climate change and new phenomena in the coming period?
Maybe, yes. This is the closest scenario, and we have to get ready to face these results.
Also, sir, do you believe that the volcanic smoke in Sicily is affecting the climate here in Northern Africa?
Yes, of course. This is
there is a relation between
the natural
the two phenomena.
Effects. We have no. This is not this is out of our hands. But I'm speaking about the effects of the human beings on the climate change, about the volcanic eruptions and so on, and also the forest firing. This is for our hand, it's the natural resources and natural effects of the climate change, and may share also in this effect.
So, Dr. Yasser, also, how do disasters urge the need for countries contributing to climate change to shoulder the financial responsibility to help most affected countries, mainly in Africa, because African countries are not contributing to climate change as industrial countries?
Yes, this is a good question, and this is a call for the developing countries to get to be on their responsibilities, because they are the source of these pollutions causing the climate change, to do their rules to help the developing countries and to face these effects, because it's we are in the same environment, we are in the same planet, and everything will affect all of us.
Yes, I'd like to thank you, Dr. Yasser Abdelhadi, climate change expert. Thank you for being with us. And we move to reports from the African continent and from Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso's junta lifted a radio station's suspension. The station was suspended for airing an interview deemed insulting to Niger's new military leaders. More in this report.
Burkina Faso's junta-led government said one of the country's most popular radio stations could resume broadcasting on Monday after being suspended for airing an interview deemed insulting to Niger's new military leaders. The communications minister announced in a statement on Sunday that Radio Omega was ordered off the air on August 10, but has had the suspension lifted. He said the government very carefully examined the request made by the Burkinabe Media Monitoring Center regarding Radio Omega. Radio Omega ran an interview with Osman Abdul Munmouni, the spokesman of a newly established Nigerian group campaigning to return President Mohamed Bazoum to power. Niger's elected leader was overthrown on July 26 by members of the Presidential Guard. The minister, who is also a government spokesman, said at the time of the channel's suspension that Munmouni made insulting comments with regard to the new Nigerian authorities. He said the measure was in the higher interests of the nation.
And by that, dear viewers, we come to the end of today's edition of Africa Today. Thank you for watching.